Good evening and welcome to New York Theater Barn's New York series. I'm Joe Barros and I'm the artistic director of New York Theater Barn.
Hello, and I'm Jen Sandler and I'm the associate artistic director.
This is the 12th virtual installment of our New York series.
That is insane, and that means we have presented 24 new musicals since March, and I don't even know how many writers. We should count that next because I'm sure that's even higher, of course.
That's right, and we are booked out through July, and we're about to announce that soon. And tonight we're excited and proud to present excerpts from the new musicals Tarrytown and the Dogs of Pripyat.
Yes, tonight's broadcast will be simulcast for the 4th week in a row on Broadway On Demand. And we love our friends on Broadway On Demand.
That's right. Our board of directors and staff have been meeting to discuss ways for our organization to further develop anti-racist culture.
That's right. With intention, our company has been conscious about increasing diversity on and off our stage in search of a world rooted in equality. New York Theater Barn is an inclusive home for all artists, audience, advocates, and allies.
As white leaders serving an inclusive group of artists, we are always seeking ways of doing better.
Change is coming, and we want to continue to be a part of that change.
Diversity is not equality.
Black lives matter.
Black trans lives matter.
Black women's lives matter.
Black Lives Matter. We actively seek out and curate important stories that we don't know from storytellers we want to hear from.
We are doing this in an even bigger way as we stand with our entire community. Black Lives Matter. Here to tell us more about this initiative in New York Theater Barn is our board member, Jim Kierstad.
Hi everyone, my name is Jim Kierstad and I'm a member of New York Theater Barn's board of directors, coming to you from my home in New York City. I'm an Emmy, Olivier, and 3-time Tony Award-winning producer of theater, film, and television. New York Theater Barn is an important institution that gives producers like me a front row seat to new culture-shifting musicals. The entire board and I are excited about tonight's new musicals, Tarrytown and the Dogs of Pripyat. These are 2 powerful stories from 4 musical theater writers we want to hear from: Adam Wachter, Jill Abramovitz, Aron Accurso, and Leah Napolin. Tonight's presentations don't come easily. We need your help to continue to support artists. We are a 501c3 nonprofit organization, and your donation is tax deductible. This week, half of our donations will go to support Darkness Rising, a vehicle to help individuals in the Black community begin conversations with family, coworkers, and friends about mental health and emotional well-being. Thank you for supporting live theater, and enjoy the show.
Thank you, Jim. We are excited to support Darkness Rising.
We are also proud to support next week's charity, the Black Youth Project. The Black Youth Project highlights the voices and ideas of Black millennials to empower and uplift through knowledge, voice, and action.
Last week's New York series featured the new musicals The River Is Me by Zachary Jones and Troy Anthony, and Wally Flynn by Eli Bolin and Stephen Gallagher.
Here's a clip from the presentation of The River Is Me. Take a look.
I'm the hero you dreamed I would turn out to be. Captain Hydro's here, he will save the day. You are not alone, you won't go away. He's a trusty pal when you're feeling low. He's the prince of the deep, he is Captain Hydro.
I think that something wonderful about working with Troy is that we both agree that musical theater is capable of holding space for stories that have weight and that are important and that matter and that have the power to change people's lives and are entertainment, but also a form of social justice. I'm inspired by the life of Emmett Till and especially his mother, who kind of sparked the civil rights movement in America. He's just a fun kid, and I think that when people think of Emmett Till, they think of his murder. It's actually a show about a son and his mother and their love and how it kind of overcame boundaries.
And then we started working on this project. I was so drawn because I think there's something about when you deal with the truth of a situation, like you're actually able to like heal and move through it, and try to focus on the reckoning with the event, but also like how do we move through and how's there healing possible like after something like this?
He's really into comic books. He's the protagonist of the show, and he loves this like one superhero, and that's his favorite comic book. So sometimes when there's violence afoot, he kind of escapes into this fantasy imagination world where he's a superhero and he's not just a short, chubby, cute kid, but he's like powerful.
He can pay punch a stepdad guy, play a checkers move, make your mom not cry. Who you need, yes indeed. If you're blue, you know who on your team. He's a dream, good old Captain Hydro.
My Black experience is prying joy and prying healing out of the jaws of despair or pain. I think the show in part reflects that. And my whole family's from the South, and I'm from the North, and they taught me that you have to say please and thank you, and you have to not challenge a white person, and that's today. So this is a moment where Uncle is kind of teaching his nephew kind of the Jim Crow South rules.
In 80 years from now, the way things is will be the same way still. Ain't no use for it, no excuse for it. Best get used to it or get a noose for it. This just the way things is.
Oh, it's a powerful show. I saw it in the National Alliance for Musicals Festival of New Musicals, just like the Dogs of Pripyat, but we'll talk about that more later. Here's a clip from the presentation of Wally Flynn from last week. Take a look.
I saw this really interesting newspaper article about this kid who flew from Minnesota to Vegas without anybody knowing. He stowed away on a plane, and he managed to get all the way to Vegas, and they found him in a casino in Vegas like 2 days later. And I was really intrigued by this story, but I didn't have a composer, and these producers commercial producers that I was working with really loved the idea of this kid with this fantasy life. And basically they asked a couple of people to write for the show, and that's how we met Eli. That's how I met Eli. And a lot of my writing has to do with loneliness in the modern world and what that's like to navigate. And Eli really understood that right away.
And wishing his dad was still there. And he sort of like escapes into this fantasy where he sort of like takes off and starts flying.
Way up here, I see pictures in the stars. I see Mercury and Mars as I go into a dive. From way up here, I don't know where I'll go till I arrive. I can feel you're still alive. Way up here.
So it's actually a pretty fun and fizzy show in a lot of ways. There's a lot of comedy and silliness, but this is another song that comes after kind of a heavy moment.
She's a modern mom who has so much on her plate, and she's trying to hold everything together for her kids, who she loves very much. And right now, it's not going very well.
And every now and then I hear a whisper, a voice that says you're failing as a mom. But I know it's a liar, and I'm gonna be okay. The kids call out and break the spell, and suddenly I'm calm. And I don't need the rest of it, 'cause I'll make the best of it. Well, I'll make the most of it.
My God, Alexander Bello is breaking my heart all over again.
I know, and seeing these recaps every week really makes me proud of the curation of this series. And I want to acknowledge you, Jen, because a lot of that is because of you. So thanks for your great work and your passion and your good taste.
Thank you to the writers for being awesome and having me find their work. So let's get on with this show and get started with the night. Our first musical tonight is Tarrytown.
Loosely based on Washington Irving's The Legend of Sleepy Hollow, Tarrytown is a contemporary new musical with book, music, and lyrics by Adam Wachter.
Set in present-day Tarrytown, New York, the musical tells the story of Ichabod Crane, a gay music teacher who, after being fired from a private school in Manhattan, moves to Tarrytown for a job at the local high school. There he meets the principal's secretary, Katrina. The small-town girl is enthralled with Ichabod's former big-city life, while he is equally infatuated with her gorgeous and flirtatious husband, Brom. The musical culminates on Halloween, when a ghost story Brom tells about a headless horseman sparks an explosive chain of events for the three characters, changing their lives forever.
And now joining us from his home in Pittsburgh is the writer of Tarrytown, Adam Wachter.
Hello.
Hi guys, thanks for having me.
Of course.
We are so excited about this show. You are a musical director as well as a writer, and you were recently featured on 6 episodes of the Disney Plus series Encore, which we
one of my favorite binges.
Oh, yay. Thank you. I love it.
Well, we love it because we're theater people. Tell us a little bit about the premise of that show for those people who've never seen it.
Encore is a show on Disney Plus, hosted and produced by Kristen Bell, and every week a Broadway professional creative team, usually a director, choreographer, and music director, goes to a different high school in America and reunites the cast of a high school musical that has happened any number of years ago. So I think like the most recent musical we did was like a 2007 production of Beauty and the Beast, and the oldest one we did was reunite the cast of a 1975 production of Anything Goes. And we do it all over the country, and it's very funny and heartwarming. It's a reality show. It's a lot of musical theater. Watch it.
Sometimes people fall back in love who were dating in high school.
Yeah.
Well, you bring a lot of informative musical direction as well as humor and heart to the show, so we'd love to take a little clip.
Oh boy. Okay.
Hi, I'm Adam Wachter. My name is Adam. I'm Adam Wachter. I'm the music director this week. We're in Texas. I have to wear my boots. Any questions? No. See you at opening night. Here we go. Everyone, listen up. We're going to work fast and furious through this musical rehearsal today. Can you turn to page 141? We need to learn the entire show today.
And then stage half of the show today. Take it away, Adam.
Woo, here we go. 3, 4. Ethel Merman, what a gift to the world. That's pretty good. I think we're gonna get there. We have to. The way you overcome stress or nerves about a performance is just to rehearse it so many times that you can do it in your sleep. But this, we've never done it. But we're gonna do it anyway, and that's the power of theater. I wouldn't like pay a lot of money for it, but I would still want to see it. Let's say that went well. It would be a lie, but we'll say it.
Oh God! Oh my God!
This show has just brought everybody a lot of joy, and I know you're going to go back to it again when we can gather again, right?
Yes, we would like to. I mean, a lot of things have to happen. Like we have to figure out how to do theater of any kind in the pandemic, and but hopefully we'll figure that out one day, and we'll be able to make more of them because I know we'd all really like to. Because
if Disney can do it, everybody can.
I mean, right? Maybe we'll like figure it out on the Disney side, and then we can come to Broadway and be like, we got it. Everyone can go back to work now. Yay!
So Tarrytown, tell us more about Tarrytown.
Sure. Tarrytown is a musical that I've been working on for years and years, as you do with new musicals. It was actually the first musical I ever started writing, like 10 years ago. I was just a little gay piano player in New York City, pounding the pavement like you do. And I thought, hey, I should try to write something. I don't know. So I didn't know what I was doing, but I just started, and many, many, many drafts and generous performers and musicians later, it is sort of a finished piece that had its world premiere in 2000. I want to say 17, could be 18, in San Diego at Backyard Renaissance Theater Company. And it's this little show. It's just 3 cast members, 90 minutes. And I don't know. I think it's pretty good.
Well, you know how I first heard about the show on The Battery's Down?
Oh my God, The Battery's Down.
Right? Because they had the reunion show. And Andrew was doing a fake. Well, I thought it was like a fake show at the time, and I'm like, oh, this is good. I wonder if it's real.
Oh my God, you are bringing me back. Yeah, The Battery's Down. That happened. We did that reunion, and Jake Wilson was like, oh, we're going to do this reading. And I was like, oh, it should be Tarrytown, because Jake and Andrew, and actually Andrew directed many of the early readings of Tarrytown, and Jake's been to many of them. So just life on screen, really.
Awesome. Well, we would love to hear the first song from the show. So let's introduce our first performer.
Okay. Should I talk about her or no?
Yeah, that'd be great.
Great. This is Rachel Cahoon. Hi, Rachel.
Oh, nice to see you guys.
Rachel, well, both my singers tonight are musical theater majors who graduated this year. They unfortunately didn't get to showcase or anything because of the pandemic, another bummer. But this is Rachel. She is one of my students actually at Point Park University, where I'm on faculty. And she's incredible. And she just graduated, and she's going to sing a song called Down the Stairs, where Katrina is sort of deciding whether or not she'll leave her husband, who treats her pretty poorly. And she's kind of working up the courage, standing on the stairs with like suitcase in hand, you know.
Awesome. Let's do it.
Down the stairs and out the door, to think I really could. Down the stairs, away from cares he never understood. Dreaming for years of this moment, dealing with fears that I would pack up and go down the stairs for good. Down the stairs to something new, a chance to change, to grow. Down the stairs, a clean debut into another show. Wondering where this will take me, loving the fact I don't know, loving that I'll find out once I go. Down the stairs and out the door and into light and air. Down the stairs, a world awaits, alone, awake, aware. Somebody maybe who sees me, somebody maybe who cares. Maybe if I make it down the stairs, up the stairs is strong and stable. Up the stairs is sad and stained. Up the stairs was just a fable we made. Down the stairs and out the door and into open sky. Down the stairs and on my own, just me, myself and I. Never believed I would do it, never believed I could fly. Down the stairs and out the door. Goodbye.
Wow.
Yay! Good job.
I have the chills. That was so
Isn't
good.
she so good? Somebody hire her when theater comes back.
All these 2020 grads, they can't have showcases for real, but like hire them now. They're doing things online. They're great.
Right? They're also good, and they're like figuring this out in a totally different new world than we've ever had to deal with. I'm so amazed by them.
Rachel, you are so fantastic. We can't wait to meet you in person soon. Thank you so much.
Thank you for the opportunity. It was so
good. And congratulations. As you mentioned earlier, Adam, you recently had a production at Backyard Renaissance, and we have a little clip from that production. So let's take a look.
And the show is streaming this weekend, right?
Yeah, for 3 days, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Backyard Renaissance, which is this incredible little scrappy company that's doing some really exciting work in San Diego. They're actually streaming the archival tape, or recording, I guess not real tape because we don't do that anymore. They're streaming the recording of that production this weekend, I think for a $20 donation. All the information's on their website, so you can actually see that production, which is awesome. And playing piano in that is Steve Withers, who unfortunately passed away like a month ago. So we're sort of doing it in his memory because he was great.
Well, I know we have one more performer, but before we see them, can you tell us more why you wrote this story, why this show, what inspired you?
Yeah, I've always loved Washington Irving's original story, The Legend of Sleepy Hollow. It just like rang a chord for me. I'm not like a huge Halloween fan, if I'm being honest, because I don't like scary things. But something about just like the autumnal nature of it, and this character, Ichabod Crane, who's such an outsider, like the quintessential outsider, which of course we have all felt like at some point in our lives. And then I saw this Canadian made-for-TV movie version of it starring Brent Carver, who was like the original Leo Frank in Parade and Melina and Kiss the Spider-Woman. And he, I don't know if he did it on purpose, but like he played him just a little bit gay. And I thought, oh, I get it now. Ichabod Crane was always gay. He's this music teacher, choir teacher, this like aesthete from the big city. And like he comes to this little town and the farmers there don't know what to do with him. And I thought that is really resonant for me as like a gay man in the modern age. So that's where it all kind of came from.
Awesome. Well, let's dive in. And this is Jaye Alexander singing When You're Near. So did you want to set that up right before we hear it?
Sure. I'll just say that Jaye is a 2020 Michigan graduate, which is my alma mater as well. And in this song, Ichabod is finally revealing his heretofore unrequited love for Katrina's husband, Brom, whom Ichabod suspects might also reciprocate these feelings.
It's like I can't focus or breathe when you're near. I can't decide what it is. Either it's love or it's hell. When you're near, when you're near, my hands get all clammy and wet. Yes, it's gross, but that's just the way that I get when you're close. Every time when you're near, when you're near, you are near. When you're near, think about all the things I've done right. When you're near, a shitty day is a prurient night. When you're near, when you're near, when you're here, when you're close, when you're near, when you're there, looking at me from under your eyes. When you're close, I swing a fragrance of citrus surprise. When you're close, only then, only all the times when you are near. When you're near, standing here, I'm aware that this is a lot to take in. It's not fair to throw it on you, but I don't care, cause this is the sanest I've been since I moved here. I've improved here, so have you. And so what? Yeah, maybe the neighbors will talk, say we're smiting the Lord up above. Maybe not, even I can't get over the shock that I love you. Rom, I love you. I'm in love. Did you hear what I said? Do you have something to say? I can see, just like me, spinning lost and forlorn, always cursing the day and the way you were born. When you're near, I dream of the future we'll share. When you're near, I fantasize seeing you there, doubt and fear disappear. When you're near, when you're near, when you're near,
When you smile, I resound from denial. All the while I can't bear knowing there lies somewhere infantile doubt and fear. Wrong, let it out. I'm standing right here. When you're near me, do you feel the same way I do? When you're
Wow.
Isn't he great? Oh my God. These kids are so talented these days.
2020 grads. Who helped you with these
Wow.
tracks?
I should mention. Wait, sorry, what?
Who helped you with these tracks? They're so great.
Oh,
Did anyone?
of course.
Yeah.
Brian
Great.
Usifer orchestrated those. Those are actually the instrumental tracks from the Studio Cast album, which you can listen to now on any number of platforms: Spotify, Apple, Amazon, Google, anywhere you listen to music. There's a Studio Cast album we made with Jeremy Jordan, Andy Mientus, and Krista Rodriguez using that orchestra, 6-piece orchestra. And that's streaming everywhere now. And there are up-tempos and comedy songs, I promise. They're not all ballads. They're not all 11 o'clock numbers. Those just stood alone, sort of the best.
And I know some of the profits of the album are going to COVID relief, right? Or is it all of them or some of them? All of them.
All proceeds are going to the Actors Fund for COVID relief. So even just a stream that costs you nothing will put a few cents in the Actors Fund's coffers. So please do give it a listen and enjoy.
So you heard that here first. Go to any streaming, iTunes, all of that, and you can. It all goes to charity.
All of it. All goes charity, every cent.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Adam, and thank you, Rachel and Jay. These amazing college graduates are really going to take the theater scene by storm.
Mm-hmm. I'm excited for the post-quarantine life with all of these people can be a part of our industry.
So nice.
It's very exciting. Thanks for having me.
Of course, and we'll see you soon.
Bye.
Yeah, I'll be here.
Well, so will we. So now on to the next part of our night. We have The Dogs of Pripyat.
Based on the play by the late Leah Napolin, The Dogs of Pripyat has a book by Leah Napolin and Jill Abramovitz, music by Aron Accurso, and lyrics by Jill Abramovitz. Ukraine, 1986. In the wake of the Chernobyl nuclear disaster, citizens of nearby Pripyat are forced to evacuate, leaving behind their homes, their lives, and their beloved pets. The Dogs of Pripyat is the story of these pets and one in particular, Boychik, a gentle lapdog that learns to survive without his masters in this harsh new world. It's a story of hope when it seems least possible and the deep need inside all of us to create family in the most unimaginable of circumstances.
And now joining us are the writers of The Dogs of Pripyat, Jill Abramovitz and Aron Accurso.
Hey, Jill. Hi, Jen.
Hello.
I'm always shocked when it works. I'm going to be the one. I'm going to be the one. My computer's bad. My apartment doesn't work. So I'm happy to be here.
Indeed. Very happy.
It really makes us appreciate stage managers and all the people that make us so great all the time.
Yeah, this entire thing, we've all been our own stage managers, and it's been a learning curve.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been wondering who's pressing the buttons over there.
That's us, me and both of us together.
Nice.
So
it's a secret.
You are both just like an incredible amount of talent. Not only do you write and have you created this beautiful show, but Jill most recently appeared on Broadway in Beetlejuice.
And all of those costumes.
There she is. There she is.
Her roles. And Aron is the associate music director and conductor of the Broadway production of Aladdin. There he is with members.
We are.
And we're really excited about this show. I've always been, and I think it's a perfect time for the show because of its themes of abandonment, survival, and ultimately the indelible power of home. I first fell in love with this show when I was on NAMP's festival committee, NAMP's Festival of New Musicals, and then the show was chosen to be in the festival, and I got to serve as a consultant on behalf of the committee, which was very, very special. And we'll talk more about NAMPT and the show's development later.
Yeah, so, I know we wanted to start and talk about your third collaborator, Leah Napolin, who we have right here. And I know she was the person who wrote the play originally. And can you talk more about how you collaborated with her?
Yeah, well, so I actually was in the Volksbühne Yiddish Theater's production of Leah's play Yentl. She's the playwright of the original play Yentl that was on Broadway. And I was in the Yiddish production of that, and that's how I met her. And then after we closed, I'd been invited to be a part of a reading of some play she wrote called The Dogs of Pripyat with the same director, Bob Kalfin. And so we got to know each other, and Aron and I were looking for a play to adapt material. And I was like, this thing is really haunting me. It's really sticking with me. It's inspired by, Leah was listening to an NPR story. Can you guys hear me?
Yeah.
Okay.
Sounds good.
I was listening to an NPR story about the pets that were abandoned or ordered to be abandoned after Chernobyl, and listening to these haunting tales of dogs running after the buses that took their masters away. I mean, these images that just grip your heart. And she thought, oh my God, what would my Jake do, her dog? And so this is essentially Jake's story. And so that really spoke to us when we were thinking about a show to adapt. It's this one dog, what would we do in the most unimaginable of circumstances? And that's part of what appealed so much to us about it, was that not only is this story of abandoned dogs coming up more and more actually in recent memory, but also in light of recent world events, ongoing world events, it's a metaphor about survival. And I'm noticing the more we write it, the more I'm noticing it feels like a metaphor for my grandparents who are Holocaust survivors. And I constantly think about what well did they have to draw from? How did they survive so that I could be born, so that I could exist? And that's a lot of what we draw upon when we talk about these characters. Like, how do they survive? What family do they find? What strength do they draw from? How do they become bigger than they started in the beginning and do things they never thought they'd be able to do? So the show for us felt very much like a no-brainer. It was very appealing, like something that really sang and really meant a lot to us. I'm gonna let Aron pick it up from here.
Yeah, when Jill showed me the play, I was struck by the unique world it created and how it lended itself to being musicalized. And what really got me excited about turning this into a musical was the beautiful final scene, which I won't spoil for you, but it's touching and I think it's optimistic. And the whole show has humor. We're always trying to emphasize that light against the dark. There is humor in the show, but it's very earnest and about love and loss.
Well, two of my favorite songs from the show are Almost Autumn and the big company number, Join the Pack, which is incredibly melodic, but quite scary and really a cautionary tale. But we're not going to be hearing either of those songs tonight. But we want to hear the score. Yeah. So tell us
it's hard to do those on StreamYard.
Right.
It's hard to do those on any kind of modern technology. Yeah.
So tell me about the first song and our
what we should say too is how we deal with humans playing dogs in the show.
Oh, yes.
They stand upright, they wear clothes, and they speak English. They're completely anthropomorphized.
Yeah. There's no arf, arf, bark, bark.
So it's like Sylvia almost.
Yeah. I mean, we use that as an example a lot. Yeah. They look like people standing, but we're imagining that they are having the experience of the dogs. And that seemed to work in what we've seen in readings and things like that. Oh, so I'm going to set up the first song, yes?
Yes.
Yes.
Okay, so after the explosion at Chernobyl, all humans are ordered to leave after a 3-day period, but that's not salient for right now. They leave and their pets are all left behind. And Wojciech, our lead, is in the center of town and he comes across some other dogs who are basically all tell him like, they're not coming back. And Wojciech argues with them for a little bit or questions them a little bit, and they exit, leaving him alone to ponder his future. And we have singing this song, You'll Come Back, the amazing Zachary Piser, accompanied by Adam Rothenberg, who are conveniently quarantined together. So it really works out well for everyone here. Hi, guys.
Nice. Hi, how are you?
Good. I'm going to shut up, right?
Okay.
All right, let's do it.
Forget those other dogs, they don't know, they don't know. You probably went to stay at your brother's by the lake. It's just a break. There's dishes in the sink extra food in my bowl. You packed up all your bags and you hurried her away. It's just a break. When are you coming back? You'll come back and tell me it's a rumor someone spread. You'll tell me it's a joke that someone played. You'll come back and scratch me on my back and on my head and tell me I don't have to be afraid. I'll be scanning the horizon when I spot you in your car. I'll greet you at the door. You'll tell me even though you didn't really go that far, you won't go anymore. And if you do, I get to come. You'll come back as how would you two live without me there? I do everything you ask me to. You'll come back, I will wait for you. I won't believe the gossip and I won't believe the lies. You can't be moving on. And just like how I know the moon is always gonna rise, I know that you're not gone. You'll come back, of course you will. I'm yours, you always say. Stupid me for wondering if it's true. You'll come back for me. I will wait for you, for you.
Beautiful.
Oy vey.
So good. How lucky are we?
They're so sweet. So
It was
good.
so sweet. Some Amy said, "What would Jake do?"
Amy,
I
I
like
wrote
that.
that down for myself today for the first time. That is so crazy. Woo.
Zach, that was amazing, and Adam.
Thank you so much.
Zach just starred right before quarantine. On March 2nd, we did a concert at Green Room 42, and Zach starred in that concert, and he did a beautiful job.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks.
And
You
there's
can see him
videos
singing.
of that
Yes.
on the interwebs, right?
Oh,
I'm gonna
yes.
put up. Yeah.
We have a whole bunch of videos.
And Zach
You
has
have a link
appeared on Broadway in the title role in Dear Evan Hansen, and he's been instrumental in the development of Cheong-eung and Kion Hersey's Eastbound, which we've been developing with Musical Theater Factory for the past few years. And Adam is a music director working on Broadway on the national tour of Miss Saigon and the soon-to-be Broadway revival of Company.
Wow. They're
Coming
super
back,
talented.
I just heard my friend said you're going into rehearsals next February. Oh, I just heard today.
Is that right?
They just got to run it past Fauci, and then you're good to go.
Oh boy.
Thank you so much, you guys.
Thank you.
Good to see you guys. Stay safe.
You too.
And again, that link follows below, and it also follows in the comments section of this YouTube video.
Oh, great. Yeah.
As I mentioned earlier, the show was featured in NAMM's Festival of New Musicals, where it was directed by Peter Flynn, and it featured cast members Alex Brightman, Carrie Butler, Kate Schindel, and Chris Hoke. Tell us a little bit more about the show pre and post NAMMed and the show's developmental journey.
Yeah, we've had a lot of amazing actors and a lot of smart people helping us along the way. So we started writing this in the BMI workshop, and then we got to do the Dramatist Guild Fellowship, and we won the Weston New Musical Playhouse Award, which so we got to go to Weston, which is one of my favorite places. And then we did NAMMed, which is where we met Joe as one of our advisors. Thank you, Joe. After that, we did Goodspeed, Festival of New Artists, one of my other favorite places. And
Magical.
we won the Jerry Bach Award. We went to the University of Miami. We did a reading at City Center. And then this concert just in March. So we've had a lot of time at music stands.
Yeah. And
We
now
love it,
on
though.
computer screens, as it turns out, which is something we never could have imagined.
It's true.
Who could have?
Well, the first time I heard this next song, it was sung by Carrie Butler and Alex Brightman when Alex Brightman was boyish.
Baby Brightman, we call him.
So tell us about this next song.
Okay, great. So I'll spare you a lot of details, but basically Boychik is really reticent to join the pack that is formed. And there's this cat who's been watching him. She's not allowed in the pack, but she's got her eye on Boychik. And with her help, she really inspires him to join the pack, to learn how to hunt, to learn how to kill, to little by little let go of his masters and become the dog that is required of this situation. So many things happen, and the pack is starving, and the ruler is kind of an authoritarian, and things are getting pretty bad. So these two undertake a kind of mutiny in the second act to save the pack. I won't get into details, but they're in the middle of the forest now in the second act. They're undertaking this mutiny. They're lost. They're tired. They're starving. And of course, they get into a fight.
And who is accompanying
Yes,
Aron
I'm so
tonight?
sorry.
Yeah.
So next to Aron is the beautiful Rachel Griffin. He also quarantines very well and marries very well. Rachel's going to be singing Ninochka. Aron's going to be singing Boychik. And Rachel, I just should say, is a very accomplished and talented singer-songwriter, composer, lyricist in her own right. So we're very fortunate to have her in the fam.
Absolutely. She created the new musical We Have Apples with
Right.
her husband, Aron. The show was featured in New York Theater Barn's Newark series, which we've loved, and it tackles the stigma of mental illness and the need for mental health care. So check out that show as well. We Have Apples.
Thanks for the shout out.
Much.
Yeah.
Love doing that with you guys.
And now we're a dog and a cat.
I was better off without you.
What?
You pathetic little pup. I could breathe a little easier. The air was breezier when you weren't using it up. I was better off without you. And your whining and your fear. No doom or down, no nag without you here. It's so obnoxious, dog. You think you're being lied to. I just want to help you, but forget I ever tried to. I'll be better off without you. You would only hold me back. I'm done with muds and all the guts you lack.
Great! I never wanted you here in the first place.
Then why are you still standing here? Go! I don't need your pity.
Fine! I was better off without you, too. If I know nothing, I know that. Half delusional and self-obsessed and all the ugly rest that comes with being a cat. I'll be better off without you. And this conversation's done. So here's my wish. Go find your fish. Have fun. Oh, are you speechless now? Can't you believe I'd say that? I don't need a crazy friend. It's actually okay that I'll be better off without you. And the visions in your head, I'd like it too a lot if you dropped dead.
Listen to you, arrogant fool. Who knew you had it?
Listen to you, arrogant too. Isn't it funny how I'm not your doormat? You're on your own.
You're on your
See
own.
how that goes.
See how that goes.
I don't know why
I don't know why I should have known. I should have known. I was better off without you. It's like talking to a wall.
There's nothing here to salvage, dear.
I thought they'd be, but stupid me. Things aren't any better now at all. Goodbye.
So long.
Take care.
I will.
Goodbye.
Yay! And they both left the room.
Did you like that exit?
It's very clever.
I was feeling it.
Yeah.
Because Rachel and I never bicker. So, you know.
Oh, yeah, I know. What that
Just
feels
kidding.
like to
Just
never
kidding.
bicker.
No. We had a lot of fun during quarantine, actually.
Well, that was so fantastic. And also our friends from Darkness Rising also said they would love to also hear from the musical about mental illness. So
great.
It exists out there as well. But thank you both again for this beautiful presentation of these two songs. It was great to hear these songs again.
Thank you so much for asking.
Thank you guys so much.
So much. And thanks for your kindness toward the show throughout the years, Joe. That really means a lot. And now you, Jen. Thank you.
And Anne says she wants more. Well, I hope we get more post-quarantine.
Yay. Come visit us at YouTube. Famous. It's the link is there. You guys have it, right?
Yeah.
Yes. I'm gonna put up one more time.
We'll back up for a little bit while we're thanking you.
Yeah.
So thank you again, Jill, Aron, Zach, Adam, and Rachel.
Thanks, guys.
We'll see you guys soon.
Yeah, I also Jill mentioned that Leah wrote the adaptation of Yentl, which originally played in Brooklyn and then on Broadway, and launched the career of Tova Feldshuh, who was the original Yentl, which is a really special story. Anyway, that was so much fun. I'm glad we did both of those shows tonight. A huge thank you to Katie Kearns for putting her heart and soul into telling stories with us each week.
We love you, Katie. Thank you to Hector Flores Jr. for his incredible vision and work in editing all of our videos every week. Everything you see, it is all Hector. He is a superstar, truly.
Thank you, Hector. And thanks so much to board member Jim Kierstead for his light and message this week.
Thank you, Jim.
Well, that's our show for tonight.
Join us next Wednesday, July 1st, 2020 for our rescheduled edition, our special edition of our new work series of musical theater writers under 20 years old.
That's right, musical theater writers under 20. We will feature songs from 4 musical theater writers under 20. They are Elise Mara, Joshua Turchin, Abigail Greenwood, and Danny Feldman. And two of them, I just want to say, two of them have concept albums of their musical, the 16-year-old and the 13-year-old.
I don't have anything out, and I'm almost 30, so. Well, they're so great, and we're so excited to share them with you, and featuring performances by Presley Ryan, who is in Beetlejuice with Jill, Elijah Caldwell, Grace Diamastis, and Justin Allbinder.
So thanks for tuning in tonight, and thank you for supporting live theater.
And Joe and I look forward to seeing you next Wednesday. Thank you, and good night.